All right, great. So now I'm actually going to jump into the app here, show you how to set up a notification. All right, great. So I'm on the current shift dashboard. So if you go to app.machinemetrics.com, this is what you're going to see. I'm going to go up and click the health button. It's going to take me to a list of alarms in the health section of Machine Metrics. And I can, if I want, even create a monitor directly from here. And monitors are what notifications kind of are transforming into in Machine Metrics. And I'll talk about that more in a second. You can also go into the upper left-hand corner, click Alarms, and go down to the Monitors tab. And you may notice these beta icons, and that really means that we're planning on expanding and developing more on all of these features. So they might change a little bit as time goes on. So right now it says no monitors active. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and add one. All right. So now I'm prompted to give a little bit more information about the kind of monitor I want to set up. I'm going to name it Test just for the situation. Next, I get to select which machines this monitor applies to. Now, I keep saying monitors rather than notifications, despite having talked a lot about notifications. But monitors are sort of the new notifications in Machine Metrics. And we decided to call them something different because they're a little bit more powerful than our old notifications. They monitor your machines for certain activity and then do things based on them. They're really more powerful, like I said, and they can do more than just send notifications. But really their primary purpose is to send those old notifications that you're used to. All right, so I could select a specific machine here, or I can just leave it to all if this is something I think applies across the board. So I'm going to leave it to that. Next, the state. So enabled versus disabled. Enabled is if I want this monitor to be active and will actually run. But if I want to say turn off a monitor for a couple weeks so it wasn't firing any notifications, I could set it to disabled without deleting the entire thing. And next we have the trigger for the alarm. For the monitor. So in this case, I want it to trigger when a certain alarm occurs. And down here is where I put the alarm. So I could say, I know it's going to be alarm 1000 is the alarm code. All right, well now every time on any of my machines that sees alarm 1000, this monitor is going to go active. Now, once the conditions here have been met, so alarm occurs, it's alarm 1000 on all machines, or really any machine here, it's going to do this action. I want to set this to send a notification because really what I'm trying to do here is recreate that workflow I just showed you. So the action is really what happens when these conditions are met. Send a notification, that sounds about right. And I want to assign it to myself. This will be, the persons listed here will be any user in Machine Metrics. So if you don't see someone's name, it might mean that they don't have an account in Machine Metrics. And you should go ahead and send them an invite if you want to be sending them notifications. And then the final part of the action is the delay. Now, the delay is how long this condition has to be true for this action to be taken. So in other words, per our previous example, that workflow, I'm going to set this to, say, 10 minutes. And this means that after 10 minutes of this alarm being on any machine, it's going to send a notification to, in this case, Colin McClarty. Now, if I want to send or do different things based on this monitor, I can click the plus sign, add another action. I can send a notification. I could create an incident. I'm not going to be going deep into what incidents are since we don't have so much time today. But if you're curious, feel free to check out our knowledge base and look for more information. And once again, I can only assign it to myself here, but if there are more people, I could create an escalating path like this. So now we have, if this alarm has been occurring for 10 minutes, send a notification to Colin McClarty. Now, if this alarm has been active for 20 minutes, send another notification to whomever I'd like. And I can keep doing this to create that same workflow that our other customer had that I demonstrated. Now, there's one more thing I want to show that's not directly related to these monitors, but is vital for kind of getting notifications set up within your system. So before someone can actually receive, say, text messages or emails, they're going to need to make sure they have an account and they have a phone number entered in our system. And that means once they log into Machine Metrics, they're going to need to come up, click on this person icon here, and then go to Profile. Now here is where I can fill out all the different information that someone might need to fill out. So it'll have the email address if they need to change that, as well as mobile information if they need to fill out the text. Now, If they don't have mobile information here, we're not going to be able to send them a text. That's just the way it is. You also get to specify how they're notified. So SMS meaning text, by email, or by both. And then also you get to specify during which shifts you receive notifications. So if you have certain shift leads that are worried about, getting hit when they're not on shift, or maybe they only want to get notified when they're not there so they know when things are going on when they're not around, you can configure that here. So if anyone's ever having trouble kind of at your floor not receiving notifications, I'd recommend they check out their profile and confirm that they have everything configured correctly here. All right, great. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into our monitors here and show you one more setting I think is one of the use cases everyone should be aware of, which is this other trigger. Now, there are other things that can trigger alarms, monitors beyond just alarms. There's anomaly detection, the machine is inactive for a certain period of time, as well as the current downtime period categorized. And this is one I want to click on because I think it's going to be really useful to a lot of you. Now, what this does is it allows you to select a specific downtime that you have on your machine metrics dashboard. So in this case, let's go ahead and say lack of material. I talked about that example earlier. If I want to create a notification, whenever an operator at their tablet at the machine categorizes a downtime as lack of material, I can send a notification for someone. So if you have downtimes that you're really trying to drill into, downtimes that are really specific, and maybe your team is saying, like, let's get rid of these, let's try and cut these down, we know these are a major problem and they're avoidable. Or maybe even a downtime, I've mentioned this before, that the operator, when he categorizes that, he's not going to have any power to fix this problem himself. Maybe you should create a notification based on it.